No one can work out for you. It doesn't matter how much money you have. No one can learn skills for you.
And I realized for the first time in my life, this clear thought that I couldn't unshake, that my health is my first foundation. It is this table that everything I love and care about sits upon. So that has to be my number one priority, reflected in my schedule.
Why do I think people are drawn to advice telling them to do hard things?
The energy it requires to start doing something is way more than the energy required to continue doing the thing. And that the beginning of doing anything results in the lowest amount of reward, both internal and external, than when you've been doing it for ages.
Whatever force it is, it comes down to why.
Why should people think about and train for strength and hypertrophy?
If you have a body, you're an athlete. We could do 100 episodes on the benefits of exercise, and we could run all the way from mood and focus, cognitive tasks, to a better immune function. You'll get less colds, you'll fight them off more effectively, to mortality, right? So some of the strongest predictors of how long and how well you will live are exercise. Resistance exercise and strength training is the number one tool to combat neuromuscular aging.
The psychological pursuit of going to the gym is kind of enjoyable. There's a bit of a dopamine release there and it's fun to do that. It feels good for my self-esteem. And the friction associated with it is low.
People deep down know that picking up heavy things physically, psychologically, existentially, culturally is good for us. And I think that that's why it's attractive.
You move your body,
Same.
get it going. You'll feel better afterwards. I know you don't want to do it. I fucking hardly ever want to do it. I maybe want to actually do it 5 out of 10 times.
Why do I think people are drawn to advice telling them to do hard things? Because I think any person, any human realizes that if you want some kind of a good outcome, you're going to have to work hard for it. And if you don't work hard for something, you're not going to get an outcome that's really worth much.
If it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was easy, everyone would achieve it.
Expecting it to be easy is what makes it much harder than it ever is.
To look at someone else that's working really hard and achieving some positive things, and they know that they're not maybe working as hard as they could be, and they're not really achieving what they want to achieve, I'm sure that stings a little bit.
The reason why there's so many time management techniques is because none of them work unless you have this underlying thing called discipline. It's the same in the fad diet industry. That industry will always churn out new things because there's an underlying issue, which is discipline.
I think a hopeful message that anyone can think about who's in that hard period or in that start period is that it won't get harder. Like, this is the hardest part. And so if you can just make it through this, if you can shift from this is hard to no one else will be able to do this, then it flips from being this thing that you're like, oh, poor me, to oh, poor everyone else who's gonna have to fucking try. And I think that is so much more motivating as a frame for the exact same circumstance.